In 1928, Nikola Tesla filed a patent titled Apparatus for the Utilization of Radiant Energy. For nearly a century, historians, engineers, and Tesla enthusiasts have debated what this device was actually designed to do. The drawings show a seemingly simple apparatus, an elevated metal plate acting as an antenna, a capacitor for storage, a ground connection, and what appears to be a circuit designed to capture ambient energy from the atmosphere. The conventional interpretation has always been straightforward. Tesla was trying to build a device that could harvest free energy from cosmic radiation, ambient electromagnetic fields, or some other naturally occurring energy source. It was seen as another example of Tesla's obsession with wireless power transmission, and his belief that energy could be extracted from the environment and distributed freely to humanity. But that interpretation has never quite made sense. Engineers who have attempted to replicate the device based on the patent drawings report that it does not work as an efficient energy collector. The output is minimal, barely enough to power a small light bulb, and only under specific conditions. For a man who successfully designed alternating current systems, transformers, and motors that power modern civilization, a barely functional energy collector seemed like a puzzling failure. The patent was filed, granted, and then essentially forgotten. It was relegated to the footnotes of Tesla's extensive body of work, mentioned occasionally in biographies as an interesting but ultimately unsuccessful experiment, until recently. In late 2024, researchers at a university artificial intelligence lab fed Tesla's complete patent portfolio, more than 300 documents spanning his entire career, into an advanced AI system designed to analyze technical documents and identify patterns, connections, and purposes that human researchers might miss. When the AI system analyzed the 1928 Apparatus for the Utilization of Radiant Energy patent, it flagged something unexpected. The system's analysis suggested that interpreting the device as an energy collector was likely incorrect. Instead, the apparatus was primarily designed as a resonance machine, a device meant to transmit and receive specific frequencies rather than simply harvest ambient energy. And if the device was not meant to collect energy, what was it actually designed to do? The answer requires understanding who Nikola Tesla was, what obsessed him, and why his final years of work may have been far more ambitious and dangerous than anyone realized. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in what is now Croatia, then part of the Austrian Empire. He showed exceptional mathematical ability from childhood and became fascinated with electricity and electromagnetic phenomena at a young age. After studying engineering at universities in Austria and Prague, Tesla worked for various European electrical companies before immigrating to the United States in 1884. Tesla arrived in New York with 4 cents in his pocket, a letter of recommendation to Thomas Edison, and a head full of ideas that would transform modern civilization. He briefly worked for Edison, but the two men clashed. Edison favored direct current electrical systems, while Tesla believed alternating current was superior. Tesla was proven correct. His alternating current induction motor and polyphase system for generating, transmitting, and using electrical power became the foundation of modern electrical grids. When Westinghouse Electric licensed Tesla's patents and used them to win the contract to illuminate the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, it demonstrated alternating current's superiority and established the standard that is still used globally today. But Tesla was not satisfied with commercial success. He was driven by grander visions: wireless transmission of power across global distances, extraction of energy from the Earth's atmosphere, communication with other planets, and technologies that seemed to blur the line between science and what his contemporaries considered science fiction. In 1901, Tesla began construction of Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, a massive facility designed to demonstrate wireless power transmission. He envisioned a world where electricity could be broadcast through the air and ground, received anywhere on Earth without wires, making energy essentially free and universally available. But Wardenclyffe never achieved its goals. Funding collapsed, the tower was eventually demolished, and Tesla's reputation suffered. By the 1920s, he was increasingly isolated, living in hotels, conducting experiments in rented laboratories, and filing patents for devices that grew stranger and more difficult for contemporaries to understand. What drove Tesla wasn't just scientific curiosity, it was a set of deep personal obsessions that shaped everything he worked on in his later years. He believed resonance was the fundamental principle governing the universe. He famously demonstrated that a small mechanical oscillator, when tuned to a building's resonant frequency, could shake it to pieces with minimal energy input. He theorized that by finding the resonant frequency of the Earth itself, he could create global effects with localized transmitters. Tesla had a profound fear of disease. He was a severe germaphobe. He refused to shake hands, was obsessed with cleanliness, and was deeply affected by the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919, which killed tens of millions worldwide. In letters from that period, he expressed frustration with medicine's inability to stop contagion and wondered whether electrical methods might offer solutions where chemistry had failed. He also believed in cosmic communication. Tesla claimed on multiple occasions to have received signals from space, transmissions he believed came from Mars or other planets, or from sources he could not identify. Whether these were genuine radio signals, electrical interference misinterpreted, or something else entirely remains debated. But Tesla took them seriously and believed communication with non-human intelligence was possible and important. In his later years, he grew increasingly interested in ancient civilizations and the possibility that knowledge had been lost over millennia. He studied Egyptian architecture, Hindu philosophy, and various esoteric traditions, looking for evidence that ancient peoples understood principles of energy and resonance that modern science had forgotten. This conviction about hidden knowledge shaped how he thought about technology and history. These obsessions, resonance, disease, cosmic communication, and lost knowledge, all appear to have influenced the design of the 1928 apparatus for the utilization of radiant energy. When you understand what drove Tesla personally, the device stops looking like a simple energy collector and starts looking like something far more complex. By 1928, when Tesla filed the apparatus for the utilization of radiant energy patent, he was 72 years old, financially struggling, and working primarily alone in a hotel room laboratory. He had achieved fame for his AC motor decades earlier, but his more ambitious projects had largely failed to attract sustained funding or commercial success. Tesla filed the patent with minimal explanation beyond the technical drawings and a brief description of the apparatus as a system for utilizing energy from certain radiations. The language was deliberately vague. This was unusual for Tesla, whose earlier patents tended to be extremely detailed and specific about purpose and function. The device itself appeared simple: an elevated metal plate to serve as an antenna, a capacitor connected to the plate to store electrical charge, a grounding connection, a circuit designed to discharge the capacitor at specific intervals. Tesla claimed the apparatus could collect energy from cosmic rays, ambient electromagnetic radiation, or other environmental sources and convert it into usable electrical power. But when engineers attempted to build working models based on the patent, the results were disappointing. The device could generate tiny amounts of electrical charge under specific conditions, but nothing approaching practical energy levels. For decades, this was interpreted as Tesla reaching beyond what was possible, designing a device based on incomplete understanding of atmospheric electricity and cosmic radiation. The patent was filed, granted, and largely forgotten as another example of Tesla's late-life work, becoming increasingly disconnected from practical reality. But what if the energy collection explanation was never the device's real purpose? What if Tesla described it that way because the actual function was something he could not or would not publicly acknowledge? This question remains speculation until an advanced AI analysis provided a new framework for understanding what Tesla had actually built. In late 2024, researchers at a university artificial intelligence lab conducted an unusual experiment. They fed Tesla's complete patent portfolio, more than 300 documents spanning his entire career from the 1880s through the 1920s, into an advanced AI system, specifically designed to analyze technical documents and identify patterns, connections, and purposes that human researchers might overlook. The AI was instructed to examine each patent not in isolation, but in context with all of Tesla's other work, his personal writings, his known interests and obsessions, and the historical circumstances under which each patent was filed. The system used natural language processing, mathematical analysis of circuit designs and component relationships, and pattern recognition across Tesla's entire body of work. When the AAI analyzed the 1928 apparatus for the utilization of radiant energy patent, it flagged the document as anomalous. The system's analysis suggested that interpreting the device as an energy collector was likely incorrect based on several factors. The mathematical relationships between components did not optimize for energy collection efficiency. If Tesla wanted to harvest radiant energy, the proportions and values of the capacitor, antenna, and circuit would be different. The design showed strong similarities to Tesla's other patents related to wireless transmission rather than reception, suggesting the device was meant to send energy rather than collect it. The frequencies the apparatus would naturally generate based on its circuit design corresponded to specific ranges that were not optimal for energy collection but were significant for other purposes, including ionospheric resonance frequencies, biological resonance frequencies, and Earth-penetrating communication frequencies. The AI concluded, with high confidence based on its analysis, that the apparatus was primarily designed as a resonance transmitter, a device meant to generate and broadcast specific frequencies for purposes other than power generation. And when the AI identified what those frequencies would actually do when transmitted into the environment, the analysis revealed multiple possible functions, each one more disturbing than the last. The first major insight from the AI analysis involved atmospheric effects. The frequencies the 1928 apparatus would generate, when transmitted with sufficient power, corresponded to ionospheric resonance frequencies, the natural oscillation rates of Earth's ionosphere, the electrically charged layer of atmosphere that begins about 50 kilometers above the surface. Tesla was obsessed with atmospheric electricity. His notebooks from the 1920s show extensive calculations related to the ionosphere's electrical properties, lightning propagation, and the possibility of influencing atmospheric conditions through electromagnetic transmission. The AI identified design elements in the 1928 patent that align with principles of ionospheric heating, transmitting electromagnetic energy into the ionosphere to alter its electrical properties, which can potentially influence atmospheric pressure systems, temperature patterns, and weather formation. This should not have been possible according to meteorological understanding in the 1920s. But decades later, research facilities like HAARP in Alaska would use precisely this principle, transmitting powerful radio waves into the ionosphere to study atmospheric effects and, controversially, to potentially influence weather patterns and communication systems. The AI noted specific mathematical ratios in Tesla's patent, ratios between component values and frequencies that would be generated based on circuit design that align with known ionospheric resonance frequencies. If the apparatus were built according to Tesla's specifications and powered with sufficient energy, its primary observable effect wouldn't be energy generation. It would be atmospheric disturbance, localized changes in air pressure, temperature, and electrical charge. Tesla never explicitly stated the device was for weather control, but the AI analysis suggests Tesla designed it with full knowledge that its effects would be primarily atmospheric rather than electrical. The energy collection explanation may have been a cover story for what was actually a weather modification device. Why would Tesla design such a device? The practical applications are obvious, including agriculture optimization, disaster prevention, and military advantage. But there is another motivation suggested by Tesla's personal correspondence from this period. Tesla was deeply affected by the Spanish flu pandemic. In letters written during and after that period, from 1918 to 1919, he expressed frustration with medicine's inability to stop contagion, and he theorized that electrical methods might succeed where chemistry had failed. This is where the AI's analysis takes a darker turn. Because the frequencies Tesla's apparatus would generate do not just correspond to ionospheric resonance, they also correspond to biological resonance frequencies, the specific oscillation rates at which cells, viruses, bacteria, and other biological structures vibrate. Every biological entity has a resonant frequency. This is basic physics. All matter vibrates, and each structure has specific frequencies at which it naturally oscillates. If you expose a biological structure to electromagnetic energy at its exact resonant frequency, you can cause resonance effects that damage or destroy the structure. The principle is well established. Opera singers can shatter wine glasses by matching the glass's resonant frequency. The same principle applies to biological targets. If you can identify the resonant frequency of a virus or bacterium and expose it to electromagnetic energy at that frequency, you can theoretically vibrate it to destruction. The AI identified frequency ranges in Tesla's patent design that correspond to known resonant frequencies of various pathogens. Specifically, bacterial cells typically resonate in the range of 100 to 1,500 Hz. Viruses resonate at higher frequencies, generally 1,000 to 10,000 Hz. Different pathogen species have distinct resonant frequencies. Tesla's apparatus, according to the patent specifications, would naturally generate frequencies across these exact ranges, depending on how the circuit was tuned. If the device were aimed at a localized area and tuned to specific frequencies, it could create an electromagnetic field that would vibrate targeted pathogens at their resonant frequency, disrupting their structure and potentially destroying them. Tesla would not have had detailed knowledge of specific viral and bacterial resonant frequencies in 1928. Electromagnetic biology was barely developed as a field then, but he could have experimented empirically, exposing cultures of bacteria or viruses to different frequencies and observing which frequencies produced lethal effects. This interpretation transforms the device from a weather controller into a biological weapon, or viewed charitably, a medical device capable of sterilizing environments, killing airborne pathogens, or treating infections by exposing patients to specific electromagnetic frequencies that destroy disease-causing organisms while leaving healthy tissue unaffected. The AI made a startling connection to later work by a controversial researcher named Royal Raymond Rife. In the 1930s, just a few years after Tesla's patent, Rife claimed to have developed a beam ray device that could kill pathogens using electromagnetic resonance. Rife published specific frequencies he claimed would destroy various bacteria and viruses, which he called mortal oscillatory rates. Rife's work was dismissed by mainstream medicine. He was prosecuted, his equipment was destroyed, and he died in obscurity. But his ideas have persisted in alternative medicine, and some researchers continue to investigate whether electromagnetic frequencies can be used therapeutically. When the AI compared the mathematical ratios in Tesla's 1928 patent to the frequencies Rife published for various pathogens, there was significant overlap. The frequencies Tesla's device would generate align closely with frequencies Rife claimed would destroy specific bacteria and viruses. This could be coincidence. Both men could have independently discovered the same principle through experimentation. Or, more intriguingly, Rife could have somehow accessed Tesla's research and built upon it, explaining why his device showed similarities to Tesla's design. Either way, the implication is disturbing. Both Tesla and Rife appeared to be working on the same concept, using electromagnetic resonance as a method against biological targets. And if you can tune the device to destroy pathogens, you can tune it to destroy any biological tissue. Cancer cells, healthy cells, specific organs, the human brain. This transforms the apparatus from a healing device into an assassination tool, a way to target individuals with frequencies calibrated to damage their biology in ways that would appear natural, leaving no evidence of external attack. Here is where the AI's analysis ventures into territory that seems impossible, but is supported by mathematical analysis of Tesla's design. The basic architecture of the 1928 apparatus consists of 4 primary parts: an elevated antenna, the metal plate, a capacitor for charge storage, a ground connection, an oscillating circuit. The AI noted that this exact configuration matches the theoretical design of the Great Pyramid of Giza, as proposed by certain alternative archaeology theories. These theories, controversial and rejected by mainstream Egyptology, suggest the Great Pyramid was not primarily a tomb but a machine. Specifically, proponents describe a resonance machine that used its massive height and geometric shape as an antenna to collect atmospheric energy, contained internal chambers, the Kingsa chamber and the Queensa chamber, that functioned as capacitors because of their granite construction and geometric properties, connected to underground water channels that served as grounding systems, generated piezoelectric effects through pressure on its limestone and granite structure, creating electrical oscillations. Proponents point to several features of the pyramid. The King's chamber is constructed of granite containing quartz crystals that generate electricity when compressed. a piezoelectric effect. The pyramid's dimensions are said to encode mathematical constants, including pi and phi, the golden ratio. The structure's height to base ratio is claimed to correspond to Earth's dimensional ratios. Shafts in the pyramid align with specific stars and may have served as waveguides for electromagnetic energy. The AI identified mathematical relationships in the pyramid's dimensions that correspond to the Earth's Schumann resonance, approximately 7.83 Hz, the frequency at which electromagnetic waves naturally circulate in the cavity between Earth's surface and the ionosphere. The analysis also links those relationships to frequencies associated with human brain activity. Tesla visited Egypt earlier in his career and was known to be fascinated by ancient monuments. While there is no definitive evidence he studied the Great Pyramid's design in detail, his notebooks contain references to ancient architecture and speculation about lost civilizations possessing advanced knowledge. The AI's analysis suggests Tesla may have recognized that the pyramid's architecture embodied principles of resonance and electromagnetic generation. His 1928 apparatus, viewed from this perspective, looks like an attempt to miniaturize and replicate the pyramid's function, taking the same basic design, antenna, capacitor, ground, oscillator, and scaling it down to a device that could be built and tested in a laboratory. If this interpretation is correct, Tesla was not inventing a brand new technology in 1928. He was reverse engineering ancient technology, recreating a design that may have existed thousands of years ago, built by a civilization that understood principles of resonance and electromagnetic effects that modern science was only beginning to rediscover. The AI identified another potential function in Tesla's design. The apparatus could serve as a communication system, but not for transmitting radio signals through the air. Instead, it would transmit signals through the Earth itself, using the planet as a conductor. Tesla was obsessed with this concept throughout his career. He believed the Earth could serve as a massive electrical conductor, that by inducing currents into the ground, you could create waves that would propagate through the planet and be detected anywhere on the surface. The 1928 patent includes design elements specifically suited for Earth conduction communication. The ground connection is not a simple wire, but a sophisticated grounding system designed to inject energy deep into the Earth. The frequencies generated would be an extremely low frequency, ELF, ranges that propagate efficiently through rock and soil rather than dissipating, but communicating with whom? Tesla claimed on multiple occasions to have received mysterious signals, transmissions that did not match any known natural phenomenon or human-made broadcast. He described them as intelligently controlled and speculated they might come from Mars, from other planets, or from sources he could not identify. The AI analysis raises an uncomfortable question. What if Tesla designed the 1928 apparatus to communicate not across Earth's surface to other humans, but into the Earth itself, to something he believed existed beneath the surface? Some of Tesla's notebooks from the 1920s contain cryptic references to communicating with the depths and to signals from below rather than from above. Whether this was literal or metaphorical remains unclear, but it suggests Tesla's conception of where non-human intelligence might exist had shifted from outer space to inner Earth. The apparatus, viewed from this perspective, could function as a deep Earth communication system, transmitting signals through hundreds or thousands of kilometers of rock to reach whatever Tesla believed might be down there. When Nikola Tesla died in January 1943 at New York's Hotel New Yorker, the United States government immediately moved to secure his belongings. This is documented historical fact. FBI files confirm that within hours of Tesla's death being reported, federal agents arrived at the hotel to inventory his papers, equipment, and personal effects. The official justification was national security. Tesla had worked on directed energy weapons, wireless power transmission, and other technologies that might have military applications. With World War II raging, the government treated Tesla's work as potentially classified material. The FBI brought in Dr. John G. Trump, an electrical engineer from MIT and the uncle of future President Donald Trump, to examine Tesla's papers and determine what had practical value. Trump's official conclusion was that Tesla's late-life work was primarily speculative, philosophical, and promotional in character, with little immediate practical value. But there are gaps in the inventory. Tesla's notebooks reference experiments and devices that do not appear in the post-death inventory. Letters mention prototypes and working models that were never found. And regarding the 1928 radiant energy apparatus, Tesla wrote in correspondence from the early 1930s about test results and modifications to a working prototype, yet no such device appears in the inventory. Either Tesla destroyed it, gave it away, or it was removed from his belongings before or during the government's official inventory. If it was removed, where did it go? The AI analysis identified design elements from Tesla's 1928 patent in technologies that emerged decades later in classified military programs. Directed energy weapons. Modern directed energy systems use many of the same principles Tesla's apparatus embodied. They generate specific frequencies, focus energy into narrow beams, and affect targets at a distance through resonance and electromagnetic effects. HARP and ionospheric research. The High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, known as HARP, uses the exact principle Tesla described, transmitting electromagnetic energy into the ionosphere to study and potentially modify atmospheric properties. Electromagnetic biological warfare. Declassified documents confirm that the United States and the Soviet Union investigated using electromagnetic frequencies to affect biological systems, including crowd-control devices and methods intended to induce illness using radiation below obviously harmful levels. The AI noted that all of these technologies share core design principles with Tesla's 1928 patent. These technologies emerged 20 to 40 years after Tesla's death. The question is whether this represents independent discovery or whether Tesla's confiscated prototype provided the foundation for classified research programs. The most speculative element of the AI's analysis involves an observation about the device's fundamental information processing architecture. Collection: the antenna gathers electromagnetic information from the environment. Storage: the capacitor stores this information as electrical charge. Processing: the oscillating circuit processes this information and generates specific frequencies based on input. Output: the system transmits processed information back into the environment. The AI pointed out that this is functionally identical to the architecture of a neural network, the fundamental structure underlying modern artificial intelligence. Tesla's device is a primitive analog computer, a machine that takes environmental input, processes it through electromagnetic principles, and produces output based on that processing. Consider modern digital infrastructure. The internet serves as the antenna, collecting data from billions of sources. Server farms serve as the capacitor, storing information. Neural networks serve as the oscillator, processing information by finding resonant patterns. The system is grounded in reality through feedback mechanisms that allow learning. This is not metaphorical. Neural networks literally work through resonance principles. They identify patterns that resonate across datasets. The mathematics of neural network training is fundamentally about finding resonant patterns in information. The AI suggested that Tesla may have been working toward the same concept that would eventually produce artificial intelligence, a system that collects information, stores it, processes it through resonance principles, and outputs results that affect the physical world. If this interpretation is correct, Tesla's 1928 patent was not about electricity at all. It was about information, how to collect it, store it, process it through electromagnetic resonance, and use it to produce effects in the real world. Tesla may have understood that resonance is the fundamental principle underlying both physical systems and information processing systems. The same mathematics that governs how a wine glass shatters when exposed to its resonant frequency also governs how neural networks learn patterns from data. The question the analysis by an artificial intelligence raises is whether Tesla actually understood this, or whether he stumbled onto these principles while pursuing other goals. His writings from the late 1920s and early 1930s contain cryptic references to machines that think, artificial consciousness, and electromagnetic minds. These have typically been dismissed as aging speculation. But what if they were not? What if Tesla had actually built a primitive form of machine intelligence using electromagnetic resonance, tested it, observed it responding to inputs in ways that seemed purposeful, and tried to describe what he was seeing using the limited vocabulary available in that era? The most unsettling implication of the analysis is that we may have been building Tesla's vision all along without realizing it. Every advancement in wireless technology traces back to principles Tesla pioneered. Every neural network uses resonance mathematics. Every directed energy weapon, every ionospheric heater, every electromagnetic medical device, all echo design elements from Tesla's patents. We have been interpreting Tesla's work through the lens of what we thought was possible. We saw electrical devices when he may have been describing information systems. We saw energy collectors when he was building resonance transmitters. We saw speculative failures when he was designing technologies we would not understand for another 100 years. And now, an artificial intelligence, itself a technology based on resonance principles Tesla may have pioneered, has decoded what Tesla actually built. Not an electricity generator, but a multifunctional resonance machine capable of influencing weather through ionospheric transmission, destroying or healing biological systems through frequency targeting, communicating through Earth itself, processing information through electromagnetic resonance, and potentially achieving primitive forms of machine consciousness. The apparatus was not about electricity. It was about resonance as a universal principle, a way to influence matter, energy, biology, information, and possibly consciousness itself. Tesla understood this a century ago. He tried to tell us through patents, interviews, and cryptic statements, but we were not ready. We could not see what he was describing because we lacked the framework, mathematics, and technology to recognize it. Nearly 100 years later, an artificial intelligence has finally decoded what he built. The question is not whether Tesla's 1928 patent was about electricity. The question is what else he understood that we are still discovering. What other patents, currently interpreted as failures, might actually be blueprints for technologies we do not yet recognize? The apparatus for the utilization of radiant energy was not about harvesting power. It was about using resonance to reshape reality, to influence weather, control biology, communicate across Earth, process information, and create machine intelligence. And somewhere, perhaps in a classified facility, there may still be Tesla's prototype, the device he built, tested, and refined, the machine removed from his hotel room in 1943 and disappeared into secrecy. That device may have been the ancestor of every technology we use today, technologies we do not fully understand, technologies reshaping civilization in ways Tesla predicted, but that we are only now beginning to recognize. The artificial intelligence decoded the patent, but the real mystery is not what the document says. It is what the prototype could do, and whether it is still out there, waiting to be rediscovered by a civilization that might finally be ready to understand what Nikola Tesla was actually trying to build a century ago.